Oh, I thought we were making a song.
Bump,
It was.
bump,
He's
bump,
dancing and everything.
bump,
Beats.
bump, bump.
Beats.
I mean,
Dropping them sick beats.
Brian, you're the only one here with musical talent, so it's
That's not true. We all have musical talent.
Yeah, we all have musical talent.
I can make my
good. That's subjective.
I can make my armpits fart, but that's about all.
I believe in you, right?
I believe in you. And also, we are Murder Moose, the Murder Moose pack. Wow, I'm just putting T's in front. I didn't sleep very well last night. So yeah, we are Murder Moose, part of the Slash and Cast podcast network.
It's in the game.
It's in Ken's ass.
I'm Continue. We got to start introducing ourselves at the front of these shows because I was listening to a podcast the other day and they did not either. And I was like, who the fuck are these people? They're really entertaining. And I could not figure it out.
Then you got halfway through the episode and realized you were listening
Oh, dude, I don't think
of the Murder Moose podcast.
It was me.
I was like, oh, God.
Who the fuck are these? I'm Rod.
Who's that irritating woman? Fuck, that's me.
I'm Brian, and that's Rod, and this is Jake Paul.
I'm Weasel. And that's
You're
Continue.
Dude, did you guys watch that horrible boxing match on Friday night?
That wasn't a boxing match. I mean, there were boxing matches involved.
Yeah.
The
girls fight was
fucking
phenomenal.
hell of a fight.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I don't necessarily agree with the decision. The fight before that one was a pretty good fight as well.
Yeah, that one was good too.
The dance competition between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul was boring as fuck. And I almost canceled Netflix afterwards. I was so fucking mad.
That's
but
fair.
I wasn't mad at the same time. I was mad because it was exactly what I knew it was going to be.
Yeah.
It was exactly what I knew it was going to be. And I was just disappointed. And I was like,
watching
wrong.
Yeah, you sit there and you go, watch 58-year-old Mike Tyson, who obviously can't move worth a shit anymore. And you go, oh, this dude is just like, you can't, if you're like an immobile boxer, there's no boxing, right? You're just like standing there. And it's just like, and I mean, I didn't need to see Mike Tyson ass, but here we are in 2024.
I'm not gonna lie, it's still kind of cute little booty.
That was a fun moment because I was like, wait a second, did I just
see a little Mike Tyson booty? That was kind of cute.
Now I did hear because I went to the bar for it, which was a lot of fun because I've never really done anything like that. And I got shitty drunk. So by the time the Mike Tyson fight was going on, I was getting hit on by a 20-year-old girl who was really cute. And half-ass watching the fight over her shoulder, but not really, and was so fucking drunk that like it didn't matter what was going on. So by the time that fight started and I watched it, I was like, this sucks, like in comparison. But I heard from a ton of people that were watching it at home that they were having a lot of lagging, a lot of like issues altogether, sync issues, and then they weren't able to even watch it in some cases. And I looked behind us, and I don't know why that connection was different, but the TV behind us was out of sync and doing all the stuttering, and it was like 10 minutes behind. And I was like, oh geez, if I was watching this and paying for it, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, so. I did read and hear about all that too. I didn't have too many issues personally.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad for me.
Neither did my buddy John. We watched that at work. I was at work. And I had it pulled up and watched it. I pretty much watched the whole thing, actually. I was kind of I got a decent enough night that it wasn't so awful. I was so busy that I actually had to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
I do have a good job. I'm pretty lucky. Like when everything's going really well, I don't do much at work. I just kind of chill. So, but yeah, it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. I just, and I've known it for a long time, but that if you're a boxing fan, don't watch Jake Paul fights. Because they're really not real fights.
And he was talking about that he's doing some other fight. And I was like, I'm not going to watch that. I don't give a fuck about that. The only thing that bothers me is that I forgot / did not know just how much shit. Now, granted, so Mike Tyson did a lot of shit in the 90s. Like,
he was a pretty shitbag person when he was young.
Like including raping a woman. Like he was accused.
Definitely.
So, but you can't forgive that. But from what I've heard, and I don't know him personally, but from what I've heard, he's like worked really hard to turn his life around. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's what I
shit.
hear also.
So, I mean, and I'm one of those ones that's like, yeah, you fuck up and you like rape and murder are huge. Like, you
Yeah,
should
and they
not
should be.
be like forgiven for that easily. And I'm not saying forgive him, but it is nice of the idea that he's not completely, his life isn't completely over, even though he did ruin that woman's life. So I don't know where I'm at this. I'm just glad that I wish that that would have been pushed to the forefront a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think.
Mhm.
Dude,
I don't know.
it's that thing where like
It was what, 34 years ago, if not
yeah,
longer.
it was the early
So,
90s.
It was a long
Yeah.
time ago. He was
yeah,
he went to jail,
he did go
like
to jail for it.
big boy jail.
Yeah.
But
And he was
yeah,
like
it's like,
$23 billion in debt at one point. I don't even know how you managed that.
yeah, he's only got like going into the fight. He only had he only had a net worth of like $10 million, which is far more than me.
Well, I
But
mean, and
far
it's a net
less
worth, so
than
like it's not liquid and it's not anything
right,
that you can necessarily obtain instantly or
right,
even obtain.
exactly. Yeah,
I
so
mean,
he's not rich.
he probably just
I
doubled
guess.
it though with the like
Well, he
$20
got
million.
paid $20 million
Yeah,
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but taxes and everything, so
yeah.
he probably doubled his
Yeah,
net
he
worth.
walked out with what, $87? I don't even know.
$87.
Taxes can be a bitch.
Yeah.
And for
But yeah,
the
I was
record,
like, what I
somebody
say
pointed
is
out
like,
today, they were like, I said something and they were like, well, we don't all have that streamer money. And I was like, I'd hope you'd have more than us right now because the economy is
yeah, I was gonna say,
trash.
just
I don't
because
know if you're aware of what's going on, but
ow. Yeah, I know a few other Twitch partners that wish they had my job.
like, I love my
Or
job
my
and I'm
income.
very
Sorry.
lucky.
Sorry.
I'm
Let me
so incredibly lucky and thankful because I do get to do stuff and there's a lot of ups and
yeah.
downs. It's wild though, like when people say that, because I'm like, dude, I fucked up during the high money thing and I'm paying the price for it
Yeah.
because I did the new money thing and blew it all plus some. So,
Yeah.
Dude, I mean,
Oh, excuse me.
Zeke is like a top 1,000 Twitcher and like Twitch streamer, and he makes good money, but he doesn't make like he's not driving. He drives around an old beat up pickup truck and like has a
Yeah.
little house and all this. It isn't. It's not. You
Yeah,
have
the
to be
other-
in the top like 100 plus of those people.
Right. Yeah.
to-
The couple other, like I said, the couple other Twitch partners that I know, and I'm not gonna give their names because I'm not talking shit about them by any means. They work really hard. These
Yeah.
guys work really fucking hard, and you know how hard you work, Ken. That's a fucking grind, and that's tough.
Yeah.
And my buddy is like, he's like every couple of fucking months, he's like, is Ford hiring? And I'm like, just keep at it, dude, please. Like, hey, you don't want to come here or work at because you're not gonna walk into my job. You know, you gotta put some time in to get the seniority to hold the kind of job that I have. And B, he's doing what he loves, you know.
Yeah.
So I try to encourage him all the time. I'm like, bro, just keep at it, man. You're fine.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ebbs and flows when streaming.
Yeah.
Like I said, 2020 was kick ass. I had some really good years before that. And I mean, like 2022 was pretty good. Like
Mhm.
it just varies a lot and you have to prepare for that. And that's one of those things that like newer streamers still, and even older streamers don't do. They don't prepare for that. So
Right.
like,
Yeah.
putting back for quarterly taxes or whatever.
Yeah.
So like, it's not a walk in the park, but it is worth it.
It ain't all rainbows, unicorns, and fanny packs, kids.
Yeah.
We
And that
need to
wasn't
bring back
that.
the fanny pack.
Dude, they're selling them again. Like Alamo's selling
I'll wear a
10.
fucking fanny pack. You put a crucifix on a fanny pack, and I'll wear the fuck out of it. Like if it's got like a
Like
ghost
down
crucifix,
crucifix?
like I'll fucking wear the fucking fanny pack.
Dude, they
you
have
know that if they put that Devil Wears Prada fucking creepy T-Rex on a fanny pack, you would buy the shit.
It's not a
out of that
creepy
thing.
T-Rex.
It's
It's Reptar.
I know.
It's
Okay.
Reptar, motherfucker.
I know ish.
Please tell me you watched Rugrats.
Dude, do you realize how old Brian is? Brian
Rugrats is
isn't-
a little young for me because I'm an old man. I watched cartoons like G.I. Joe. So You probably never even heard of G.I. Joe.
Oh, yes, I have.
No, not the movie with Channing Tatum.
No, I know.
Ken
Did you watch
collects.
He-Man?
I watched Fraggle Rock. Y'all watch Fraggle Rock?
Yeah.
What was that? Like was
Did
like
you watch
Nick
He-Man?
Jr.
Did I watch He-Man? I had all the action figures too. With Stinkor, which by the way was never in a cartoon. Did you guys know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, the see now we're gonna turn this into the fucking Hasbro podcast. The toys were made first.
Oh, I didn't know
cartoon. That. Yeah. I didn't know that until I watched the toys that made us.
I love that show.
It's so good. But I watched the He-Man one. Yeah, the toys came first, and
you know
the toys actually never even made it to the show. Like
you got me excited for saying that. Mention that they're doing more In Search of Darkness, and they're doing the '90s now.
I know. I can't wait. But then I'm gonna cry because Candyman.
Listen.
Yeah.
While we're still on toy talk.
Okay.
Talk, not talk. Talk. Whatever. Please tell me you guys have heard about the Mattel issue that's going on.
With Wicked?
Yeah. Did you hear about this?
The link?
Haven't heard. Mattel sent out they're doing whatever.
Like
Warner
Wicked
Brothers,
Barbie dolls.
Doing Wicked, the musical, into a movie, and it's got Ariana Grande, who looks like she's dying. But they put www.wicked.com on the boxes, which leads to a parody porn site.
No, it's not a parody porn site. It's a porn site that's been making porn for 30 years.
Oh, yeah. It's a porn site that's been making porn for 30 years.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I had to type it in just to make sure. I was like, is this real? Dude, I saw that and I'm like, no.
I've seen...
I already look at enough porn on my phone, so it wasn't like I was freaking.
Dude, I saw one of their movies back in the day, and it was like a fantasy, like a fairy tale porno with like, and I was like, this is too complicated. I just want the fucking part. I don't want the elves and like it's not one of Ken's smut books where they're like, I'm a magical werewolf and I'm a magical vampire, and then if you cut my ear and then fuck the whole 3 onion children grow out, and whatever the fuck you guys listen to in your weird smut books. I don't know.
It's really interesting that that's where you went, but whatever. I think that says more about you than it does.
Ken's, you look at Ken's face. She's like, exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. I nailed the plot of her real. Ken, I love you.
Wow.
I love you,
was
bro.
Pretty funny. That's some pretty funny shit.
Okay, before we dive into Heretic, what have you guys been up to?
I've been watching a fuckload of Mighty Nine, Critical Role. I've been coloring and I've been reading. And so far, it hasn't been smut. I'm on book 6 or some shit of this series, which is fine with me. But I do feel like it might transition to smut pretty soon. But I'm not positive. I didn't think it would, because I feel like this series was in a children's, not in a children, but a young adults section.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it might, but whatever. It's the Throne of Glass series. It is by the same author who did Court of Thorns and Roses. I am missing the kitten because I can't get him back for a little bit, and just hunkering down for this really bad storm we're supposed to be getting today, which I guess is just now starting.
Nice.
But yeah.
Blame Canada. What about you, Brian? You just...
What have I been up to? I've been working a lot. I was able to work some overtime and make some extra money. But I haven't been watching much new or anything. I revisited some old Tony Todd stuff just because Tony Todd passed away and everything. Did
they do the new?
That?
Yeah, he died
Tony Todd passed away.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Candyman passed away.
Did they do?
He actually passed on, I believe, November 6th, and they didn't say anything until the 8th. They wanted to have a couple of days to kind of his family to process and do all that stuff. But yeah, the guy that played Candyman, the guy I named my dog after. So
did they?
I did get the opportunity to meet him though, so I cherish that aggressively. So.
Did they manage to do the new Final Destination movie? Because dude, that movie, I've been expecting it to come out for the last 100 years, and he supposedly was going to be back in it as the what do you call
basically
it?
death. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess he's kind
Yeah.
of death personified.
I saw.
in
I
it.
bet they didn't even do it because I thought they had shot that movie years ago, and I think it just never got made. So
I have no idea, but I do know they were supposed to be making a new one.
Yeah.
I've only seen the first one of those, I think, and I've seen snippets of like some of the other ones. Maybe I don't know.
dude,
I've
the
actually not
second
seen
the
all of them.
second one is the one that's traumatized like my generation, Kin's generation, with the log truck that like is
See,
the
I've
most.
seen that opening sequence because
Yeah.
everybody shares just
Yeah.
that opening sequence, which is incredibly fake, which is but fantastically fake because
there's
logs wouldn't bounce.
Yeah.
They don't bounce like
There's
they
only
would-
one that's really bad, and that was 4. I think 4 was the real bad one. But I liked the first 3. I think 2 and 3 are better.
I
than the
remember
first.
enjoying the first one pretty good and thinking it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I never and then I think I've seen sections and pieces of part 3 because I think part 3 was the roller coaster.
Yep,
one.
that's the roller coaster one. Yep.
And I've seen sections of that. I don't remember.
That one
all
has
of it.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead or whatever the fuck her name
I
is.
like her.
From
I like her.
Dude, that was like that point where she was in everything, including the shit thing remake, which I despise. Like, there aren't many movies that I hate more than Prometheus, but that movie is one of them. And
if they would have kept the practical effects in that and just went with that route, it would have been much more watchable.
Yeah.
But like all of the transformation sequences and the
oh god, it was bad.
It looks so bad. There's just no life to it whatsoever.
It was like PlayStation 2 graphics on top of like it was
so bad. Yeah, so bad. Sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, I personally haven't really been doing anything. I bought my Ghost tickets.
Nice.
I keep saying that.
Dude,
Ghost announced a world tour, which means we're probably going to be getting new Ghost music, and we get to see new Papa coming soon because new Papa.
He's been this Papa for a while now, has it? Like longer
2
than
albums.
usual. Yeah.
Well, sort of, because he was Cardinal Copia and prequel, and then he
was
promoted to Papa 4.
I watched a couple weeks ago. Watched the special with like him and his mom and his ghost dad.
Here,
and
now, the concert movie.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty good.
Fun. It was fun.
I don't know, like that's 2 hours, and I'm like, man, they take a lot of space, and I'm glad that they're doing things. I don't want to go to an arena show. That's all. I'm like, yeah, no arena shows for me. So, yep.
Yeah, it's an arena show. It's they're playing at the big one in Kansas City, the Sprint Center. Well, it's called the T-Mobile Center now. But yeah, it's and it's going to be a phone-free event. So
how do they do that?
Do what now?
How do they manage that? Like
they put when you because you'll have your phone with you. Because 99% of people have
tickets are on phones. Yeah,
exactly. So after you scan your ticket, they give you a Yonder pouch, and I didn't know what that was. So I look it up.
I've seen those they have them at comedy shows, but like that's not 20,000 people.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have 20,000 Yonder pouches, and if you get caught with your phone out, you literally will get removed. So so you put your phone in the pouch, it locks, and then if you need to use it, you just walk out of the safe area and it locks. So you'll have your phone all the time, which is fine by me. I don't typically do a lot of like recording when I'm at concerts.
Dude, I took one picture last night, and that was me and Katie, and that was all. I didn't take anything during any of the acts or did anything like that. I just took a picture of me and my friend, and I was like, I want to. This is experiences. Because I have a bunch of,
and that's why he's making this whole tour, and most likely every show moving forward is going to be a phone-free experience. Because the reason he's doing it is because he had so much fun filming the movie. Yeah. Because the movie was filmed over the last 2 days of the tour of the Re-Imperator tour. Yeah. Which was the final tour for the Impera album. And it was filmed at 2 sold-out shows at the Kia Spectrum Buckton Kia Sport
in LA.
I don't know, the Kia Sophia Arena. I don't know. And they were phone-free experiences because they were filming the movie, so it made sense. He's like, well, we can't have any of the footage getting out, so they were phone-free. But he said that the crowd was so much more engaged and so much more into the show. And he could tell that that it was a much better experience for them. So he's just like, fuck it. I'm just basically forcing a better experience on you people by making you not be able to have your phone.
Yeah.
So I kind of respect it. I like it. I mean, and honestly, to be completely honest with you, as a performer myself, somebody who's done the same thing he's done to a much smaller degree, I can't stand seeing people fucking standing there holding their phone up at me and recording and shit. I'm just like, get into the fucking moment, you know. Appreciate what's happening in front of you, because I'm fucking awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Brian's like, you can't see my big dick behind your phone. Come on, man.
I'm just like, I can't stand it either. So, but yeah, you know, everybody's different. You know, I don't know. They could be having the time of their life holding their phone up, recording my little fucking shit, for all I know, which is fine.
Dude, it's a thing where it's being in a moment is so much more, because I don't know about these people recording all this shit, because I know I've recorded like songs and stuff, but I never go back and watch them. So what the fuck is the point? So just sit there.
I know that's why I stopped, because every once in a while I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna record this, or I'm gonna snap this, or whatever. But then I'm like, why? I never go back and rewatch any of that shit ever. So yeah.
Okay.
What have you been up to, Rod?
I went and saw The Devil Wears Prada last night, and Silent Planet, and See a Space Cowboy. See a Space Cowboy, man. Holy shit. I don't know if you know about, I think their lead singer is trans, and this individual can scream like at the highest pitch shit I've ever seen, and it was pretty entertaining. I'd never seen them live. It was a pretty good time. So I had in Greyhaven was the last band, but it was a good time going with my friend Katie, the classiest Katie. So yeah, we had a good time. And
got a little story about Devil Wears Prada for you. It's
What's
a
that?
very quick little anecdote. A buddy of mine, they played at Rockfest here in Kansas City several years ago. This is a long time ago. We don't even have Rockfest anymore. It's how long. And he had never heard of them, but just saw their name on the bill. And he was like, all right, well, I guess I'll check these guys out, because they were on like the second stage. Main stage stuff hadn't started yet. And he went over, and they were already playing. And he was watching. He was like, oh, they're pretty fucking awesome. But he misread it, and he swore. He came to me and said, man, I really liked The Devil Wears Panda. And now I wish that was their band name.
That's beautiful. It can be a cover name. It can be a cover name for The Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah, it's a cover band.
I know. He said that, and I was like, what? The Devil Wears Panda. And I was like, Prada. It's The Devil Wears Prada. He goes, oh.
That's pretty fucking awesome.
He didn't even feel dumb. He was just like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah. And I finished I've been listening to a book series since like August, and the new book came out, The Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I just read book 7. It was awesome, and I had a really good time with that. So
nice.
Just like Ken, reading is good.
I need to start doing that again.
Let us talk about Heretic, which just came out a couple weeks ago. And Ken, you have a synopsis for us?
I do. 2 young religious women are drawn into a game of cat and mouse in the house of a strange man. So fucking good. I saw the trailer for this forever ago and was like, I have to see this. And it just so happened that we stayed over in Tennessee and it was playing while we were still there. And I was like, thank goodness. And I went and saw it, and it was so good. Yes, there were moments that were incredibly predictable. And yes, there were some flops. And yes, if you're studying theology, there were some issues that kind of popped up here and there. But it was so good. It did a great job. And Hugh Grant is terrifying. Apparently,
this might be my favorite Hugh Grant performance of all time.
Absolutely phenomenal. Apparently, the last horror movie he did was The Lair of the White Worm.
Oh, dude, I literally, that Brandon Tennell guy who also is connected to In Search of Darkness and stuff, the guy who did like Motel Hell, and he does all these reviews. I literally just watched the YouTube review for that movie last night, because I'll rewatch his movies. Like, he's been doing it for so long, and I rewatched that last night, and it's funny. It's Hugh Grant and the guy who played one of the doctors, like the last guy doctor for Doctor Who. I can't think of his name, but in this weird ass fucking trippy movie about like snake vampires and shit like that. It's a pretty crazy fucking.
It's a comedy. It's a horror comedy.
Yeah, but it's so that guy, that director is an English director who it seems like was pretty notorious for making these art house horror comedies and weird movies. Like he has a movie with a Hitler Frankenstein's monster with a guitar that shoots machine gun bullets and shit like that. Yeah, it's kind of it seems like a wild movie. Yeah, Ken. So that was it. So he's
36 years ago.
That
came out in 1988. Wow.
But he's played a villain before. It's the first time. Wasn't he the villain in one of the Paddington Bear movies?
Okay, Rod. First of all,
technically, wasn't he in the D&D movie?
Yeah, he was the bad guy in that too.
There's a difference between being a villain and Paddington fucking Bear and a villain in a D&D movie and what he was doing in this.
I'm not my point was that the man is known for being a really good-looking dude who just smiles and charms you with his British accent and like being good-looking.
And he's still charming as fucking.
Oh no, yeah, completely.
Creepy,
yeah.
A creepy charming.
It's funny because like that you say that, and I'm like, but I was on his side almost the entire movie until like.
Right.
I mean, until I will say that I think the movie falls off the rails a little bit at the end. At the very, very end of this movie, it loses me a little bit. Besides that, I generally thought it was really good, like Ken said.
I think the Rotten Tomatoes score is too low on this. It's 92.
What is it? Yeah.
The Rotten Tomatoes score is a 93 or 92 for the fresh review or for the regular reviewers, and then for the others is 77. I think part of that is skewed based on
religion.
People who hear anything religion based and immediately take it as an attack against them. I totally just forgot the word that I was looking for, where they think everything's out to get them.
They think of it as heresy, you know.
But I feel like, again, it is predictable in quite a few places.
Yeah.
Especially the one that rose from the dead, like that, called that the second they like did all of that. But it was also really beautiful, and like there were also some moments that, again, like I feel like Dante's stuff they didn't really dive enough into. Like there was somewhat like they started to get there, and then it like kind of fell apart a little. And there was something with the music that was wrong, but it fit. So I mean, I kind of get it. But like overall, it brought up a lot of. I went with Cats, and it was the first movie we got to go see together. It was really cute.
Aww.
But we had like a huge, like discussion on religion and theology and everything after the fact. And it was really nice. And it makes me want to go back and watch it again and take some notes and like compare. And like, I really enjoyed it. And yeah, Hugh Grant. Oh, killed it. And for what the one sister, so you've got the sister with the dark hair
Sophie Thatcher.
Was
that was
Sister
Sophie
Barnes?
Thatcher, yeah. Oh, okay.
No.
I see what you're saying.
Which one was the?
There was Chloe East played Sister Paxton.
Yeah.
Sophie Thatcher played Sister Barnes.
Yeah.
And hold on, I'm missing. Okay, so Sister Barnes did a great job as her character. I felt like she really fit that. I feel like the girl who played Sister Paxton, like she did a great job for what she was supposed to do as well, as far as just the obnoxiousness of her. But there was something about her that just rubbed me the wrong way, but that's just me. Like she did a great job, but like it just felt something was off. And I've been on this like insane kick of like Mormonism and FLDS and LDS. And so when I saw this, I was like, yes. And side note, Topher Grace just being in this movie caught me so off guard.
I didn't recognize him at first.
I didn't either.
I didn't even know that was. I didn't even realize that was him until you guys just said that.
The only reason I was able to finally piece it together is because I'm actually watching through that 70s show right now. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, is that goddamn Foreman? Like, I'll be fucking damn. Yeah, Topher Grace, who played Elder Kennedy.
he plays a good psycho, man, because they use like one of the best parts of was it Predators?
Predators.
Yeah, where he's like, you're like, what is up with this dude? And he's like the craziest motherfucker out of all of them.
Uh-huh.
I want to point out something or question something that made me laugh right away before I forget. The opening of this movie was the most like what the fuck ever thing of a movie, but these two Mormon girls sitting on a park bench talking about porn. I was, I was like,
Yeah, that one really caught me off guard because I was like, oh, and then when they were talking, like, there's a website, not obviously not all Mormon people follow it, but there's a website that lets you know like what movies are like godly enough for you to be able to watch.
Yeah.
So when she was talking about them, I was like, well, obviously she hadn't used the website. And then when I saw like when they zoomed in on the one girl's cut in her arm, I was like, oh, she's got birth control.
Oh, yeah.
And I sat there for a second. I was like, that's kind of odd. Then I was like, oh, it's not always used for just periods. Cats didn't know.
yeah.
And I was like, I have it. Like,
yeah, dude, I knew that because of you.
So scarred. Like
Yeah.
mine, no, I have like a little tiny scar where every time they go in, well, not exactly in the same spot, but they go in, they like put a little bit of a cut, they pull it out, and then they have like this little thing that just shoots it back in, and we move on with life. But also mine's like a headphone cable cord. So
they probably did that to make it more obvious too. Like, because it was a plot point of that. Like that's the thing that I really did. One of the things I really dug about this is that they didn't have these two as like impossibly naive people. I mean, they were naive, right? Don't get me wrong, but they were people, right? They were living being. Like you talked about it. Her having that in the arm, maybe she had really shitty periods, or maybe like shit like that. And there's a reason why, besides not getting pregnant, you could have birth control, and that's the thing. That's
For instance, PMDD, that shit fucks with you. Like sometimes you have to be on. And if you don't think birth control should be allowed, I want you to go fuck yourself right now. Because
please never listen to this podcast again.
PMDD. You don't know what that is. It's PMS on steroids. It can make you so depressed that it's horrible. It's horrible. I urge you to go look up PMDD and think about that. And not to mention like every other thing that it helps with, like POCS or PCOS or whatever. Like there's so much.
That's the thing, man. It is anyone saying that birth control is just control. That's all it is. It's control over those who like. I mean, dude, it's funny because like over the weekend, I always hang out in Katie's Discord, and I think like in Saturday night we watched Pleasantville because I had never seen it.
Oh, so cool,
I
dude!
Love Pleasantville.
That movie made me cry because of what that movie was like. The most of right now. You're just like, oh, this is what these motherfuckers want. They want it to be Pleasantville, and you just go. And they're like, I'm just like, Jesus, fuck this movie. I was like, this is horrible, but awesome at the same time. And I had never seen it. And I'm just like,
my favorite thing I've seen recently, well, there's been a lot, but one of my favorite things I saw recently was a woman on TikTok. And she was like, so when they take away our credit cards, that debt goes too, right? Because we're just stupid women. We should have never been allowed to have those to begin with, right?
God, dude, I'm all the time now. I'm like, hey, guess what happens when everything costs 20% more? You dumb motherfuckers. You dumb motherfuckers.
Well, I'm thinking 30 to 50 because the tariffs are going to push it that high.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, whatever. I mean, maybe, I hate it all. I have to say, like, before another thing I want to talk about before I forget, there's a shot towards the end of this movie. I think it's basically the end of it, where she's coming out of the dungeon kind of thing, and it transitions into the wood carving of his house he's doing, and is one of the coolest shots.
Oh yeah,
I think I ever remember in like a movie like that, where it's just. I mean, we've had a lot of like. Brian, did you end up seeing Smile too? Like
no, not yet.
Okay,
I haven't seen it yet either.
He does more of the because it's the same director as the first one. He does more of the upside down shots that are just really cool, but they like fucking disorient the shit out of you. But it's like, it's cool watching people do like intuitive, like, or not intuitive, like in like making new stuff up with this like with all the technology they have available, and like that scene, that shot just made. I thought it was really cool. So I just want to point that out before I forgot because
Yeah, I like
I
that shot a lot. It's really
yeah.
good.
Can I also say so? The This movie is a lot of dialogue, a lot of dialogue. It's not a.
It's
It's
very it's very dialogue heavy, but
yeah. It's all
in a good way, in like the really good Tarantino movies
yeah.
way.
It's
Yeah.
very
Um,
Tarantino, which is funny because that's not the first time we've said that because we just said that for Strange Darling. Um,
yeah,
because Strange Darling, obviously, with this how it's told, also too. But Ken, I was gonna say you with all the reading you've done and you do your podcast and you do all your TikToks of the weird things. What was your thoughts of like? You think they did a good job of portraying two like Mormon girls running around trying to convert people?
I think so. I mean, I will be honest, I haven't spent a lot of time being around like people doing that. The only thing I will say, so like, and I mentioned this before, um being here, I never hear about religion
Yeah,
ever. And like there are a couple churches in town. And then there's like this beautiful old church that like, and it's not big or anything, but there's this old church in town that I love. But like nobody talks about it. Nobody brings it up. Nobody's like, "Oh, are you going to church this weekend?" Nobody says anything. And it, honestly, like as someone who grew up in the church and grew up
in the
very,
Bible
very,
Belt, in the
very
Bible
in,
Belt, yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's very interesting. So it was kind of a shock to me when I went back to the States, and immediately got witnessed to in the grocery store and felt like I was like trapped and like everything that goes on there. And there was a lot of other stuff, and I would not do well with people coming to knock on the door most of the time because first of all, I'm scared shitless if anybody knocks on the door. But second of all, I don't know how I'd handle that. But I was kind of surprised, and I don't know if it was just me just not knowing, but for some reason I thought that they had to have a man with them. But I must have been wrong on that.
yeah.
Um, but I did think it was interesting that they had names and addresses and knew where they were going, and like they weren't just out going door to door to door. I thought that was really interesting. So,
they
yeah.
do that in the small town that I just moved out of. They the reason they had his address down is because he specifically asked for more information about
Right.
the church. They do that when they come around, or somebody will come around, not necessarily the same people. And then you'll be like, well, you can come by on this day and this time or whatever, and we can talk in more detail about it and shit. Um, but yeah, they all the people that represent the Mormon religion they were all, if memory serves me correctly, little dudes.
Did
Uh,
you mainly get Mormon or did you get Jehovah's
we
Witnesses?
got a little bit of everything. We got Jehovah's Witness, we got Mormons. We even had just standard like your non-denominational Christians that would come. It's a fucking cesspool of fucking Jesus freaks.
Well,
And
I
yeah,
mean, there's that rumbling, man, and it's the thing, man, and they like this movie obviously doesn't take place in the South, right? It like they never actually say where it takes place, but it starts like raining, snowing things. So you think,
Oh, yeah, it's definitely up north.
yeah, um, but like the dude, it's that fucking correlation where you go, the more religious a state is, the lower they probably are in the education ranking for this country because guess what? It's easier to convert stupid people into religion because
Not
logic,
necessarily always.
not always, but a lot of
It's
the
the same
time.
as with cults. It's
Yeah.
not always stupid people. It's not always gullible people. There are people who are lonely. There are people
Yeah.
who are just seeking
it's
out
all
something. That's why
about
QAnon was able to take off so fast.
yeah.
There's people that, uh, like most people in cults are very intelligent. There are a lot of people within the church that are intelligent, but it's like something shifted. So like they're smart and then they hit something and it's just like whoop.
Well,
gonna go this way.
Yeah.
But not everybody,
yeah.
right? Like a lot of people are very dumb, but it's
Well,
it's
yeah.
yeah.
You're right because we're human beings are a social creature, right? We need interaction, we need others around us. And if you don't have that, religion is an easy access to that, regardless of the cost of it, and regardless of what you're doing and what you're like. But it's an easy thing, man. If you're alone, you get to go to a place where there's a community, a built-in community that doesn't like. They're not going to ask you questions. They're just like accepting whatnot. But I mean, asking questions or whatever, leading down to what your lifestyle is and what it's gonna was and what it will be. Yeah, but like I was more saying that it is usually generally pretty. It's you look at like the number of like churches and education rankings, and you go more churches, lower education, and yeah, which is how we got into an election where how many people voted for Trump and then Googled how do I change my vote afterwards because that is the world we live in.
What are tariffs?
What are tariffs? Oh, you'll find out, motherfucker. You'll
What?
find out. And you'll find out when they take your fucking scummy jobs and they move them to Mexico because, like, ugh, I fucking, the rubes, man, the rubes. Uh, it's funny, though, because what I really do approve of in this film, though, is that, like, they have that mix of the two girls who are kind of like going, like, the one is fighting back against his logic and making
I love
these
that.
yeah, making decent
I
points
love
because
that they took that moment and were like, okay, well, obviously, if we have both of them who are just so blindsided, then they're going to, without a shadow of a doubt, do exactly what he's expecting them to do and blah, blah, blah. Whereas, she's had experience outside of the church and, she can question. And I loved that.
yeah. I One of the things about this film that I go and go, I feel like, and probably because this movie's actually done pretty realistically, most of it, like some of the stuff at the end maybe a little bit not, but like one of the things I wish that you would have kind of gotten more into what was they never really fully established what his purpose is, like why, besides because he goes off about his investigation of religion and spending all this time, and he never fully like explains what broke him or whatever, because at the end of the movie you've seen like how many women did he have like locked in dog kennels in the bottom of that house, and how many, like, which means he's killed how many people that have come through here and done all this and that. And I kind of would like to know like what he was like besides the whole prophet thing. Like, was his whole point just breaking religious people? Like regardless of like whatever, like was it his whole point was just breaking these girls? And like, because that's the one question I kind of was like, what?
I think that his point was at some point, like, you have to remember that they're just twisted. Like
Yeah.
he's
Oh
he's
yeah.
twisted. There's something wrong with him. He's not all there. Like obviously there's something wrong. I think that he feels driven to teach that it's all a fallacy, that like, whatever the case may be. I don't think it's necessarily him trying to convince, because if he was really trying to do something, he would let them go so that they could go out and explore. I don't think I
I think the
I don't know.
I
I
think
don't
the
know how to
problem with
answer that.
because I had thought that too, but the problem with that is you do that once and let him back out in the world, then that would be the only time you ever did that because they would have
Yeah,
called the cops and they would have been like,
right.
so it's that, yeah, it's the, I don't know, because,
Well, he kind of said it. It kind of explains what he's wanting to do when she gets down to the room finally, and she's talking, and she says, "Well, I'm here because this is exactly where you wanted me to be."
yeah,
And she breaks everything down, and she says that you said that you did finally find the one true religion, and
control.
it's control.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what he had them all there for. He wanted to have control of them. He wanted to have as much control and power of them as in it. So he used their faith against them and
Yeah.
in an attempt to manipulate them to do exactly what he wanted to do or what he wanted them to do, but he wanted them to perceive it as them making their choice to do it,
Yeah.
which is the ultimate the ultimate gaslighter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's why I think this is probably my favorite Hugh Grant performance ever in the history of his very good acting career, because he's a
But-
really, really good actor.
The only part of it that I did not like of his was his death. I did not like it. I mean, I'm sure that it's very accurate in that regard, but like I just maybe that's why I didn't like it, because it was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But like I just it was a struggle for me. Like
That
I
mean,
still liked it, but
that's what I was kind of saying. Like the end, like when I said the ending loses it a little bit for me. Like the whole girl getting her throat slit and then like coming back to hit him in the back of the head with
yeah, but
that.
if you
Like
look at how it's slit, it's not slit
It's
deep
not
enough
slit
to
all the way
drown
across.
her, and it's not
Yeah.
slit deep enough for her to bleed
Yeah.
out quick enough.
yeah. Well, it was slit bad enough that she died basically after doing it because she didn't come out of the house with the other girl. So it's like, I don't know. Like it was.
I've seen and heard some pretty amazing stories about people surviving things like that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, there was that one woman whose whole head was like all of the
Yeah.
ligaments were cut, and she was walking around with her head like dangling
Uh-huh.
backwards and still survived.
yeah, that's true shit. Yeah, I
Yeah.
read all about that.
Ah.
The human body, Rod,
Yeah.
can be pretty fucking amazing.
I think that you guys are right though, like with how good Hugh Grant is in this and how
This is another movie. We've talked about a lot of really. First of all, we talked about some good fucking horror movies that have come out this year. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is turning out to
This
be
and Strange Darling for me.
so good, and Substance is right up there too. Oh,
I
fuck,
still need
Substance.
to watch it.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta watch Substance. Yeah, this has been a good fucking year, man.
It is
Like,
okay.
It really has. And
I would say it's a good second half of the year because I don't think the first half of the year was nearly as strong as the second half. But
I agree with you completely. Yeah, it has been a really good second half because we still got Nosferatu to come.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I actually just rewatched The Lighthouse just for shits and grins. But this has been yet another movie that is just has got some really fucking great performances.
Yeah.
Man. Like we've gotten and of course I'm a Beck and Woods fan anyway, ever since like Haunt, and you know they wrote Quiet Place and shit.
Yeah.
I think these two guys are for the most part just everything they've done I've just really enjoyed, with the exception of the Adam Driver sci-fi movie 65. I couldn't get into that.
Dude, that was just like boring.
It was
again
not very good.
The cardinal sin.
A rare miss for them because I love Haunt. I love Quiet Place, obviously. They wrote The Boogeyman, which is really good too.
Yeah.
And now I really enjoy this a lot. But yeah, I think these guys are pretty damn sharp. And you know what? Maybe I need to give 65 another try. I don't know, but it didn't do very well.
Ken, I was going to ask about budget and how much it
less than 10 million.
I was gonna say it doesn't seem like it costs very much to make. Like it's very like this self-contained environment. Again, this is just a movie that like you don't need much, right? Do you know how much is pulled in, Ken?
It was like 23 or 27. I saw a few different numbers.
Yeah,
but somebody said 15, and then I saw 23. I saw 27.
So it's already made profit though, because those, I mean, dude. This is another one, man. Another A24 film that these motherfuckers, like, you would think that they would have learned with Long Legs that you need to promote them a little bit and do cool things. And like, I feel like you could have had like Hugh Grant doing like religious.
Ain't got time for that.
Yeah. They could have had him like doing religious sermons or something like that, or like to saying like he was like interested in your religion or something. Like A24 just doesn't fucking advertise their movies, and like the only movie like the only advertising I saw for this was like trailers, and that was like before other horror movies. Like, so they'll do trailers, but like if you're not going to the movies, how the fuck did you know this movie was out? Like you don't, and it's just like I'm glad that this has made money because it was good, and it's been like that's a pretty good
it
opening.
didn't make money. It just didn't cost any money. So let's keep it real. It only made $11 million its open weekend.
Yeah, but it's been out
enough to be second in a shit fucking weekend where it finished behind Venom Part 3. But thankfully it didn't cost anything to make. So that's really the only reason it's been.
Well, Ken said it's made 26 million, 25, 26
I've got
was
right
total.
25, 26 million.
Which is profit because it costs less than $10 million. Profit.
Look, dude. Quit moving the goalposts. All right, you sound like a fucking MAGA. All right,
I'm not.
Because this movie, if that movie would have opened to those numbers and it cost $200 million, you would be saying this movie fucking flopped,
dude.
Okay?
But it's relative, and that's what I'm saying, motherfucker.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying the same thing you're saying. I'm just being realistic. The movie didn't cost shit to make. That's the only reason it's successful,
dude. Okay? But that's horror, dude.
I know
horror
that's what's beautiful about horror, right?
Yep.
I would love to see a $300 million fucking horror movie.
Dude, shit.
What would you do?
The problem would be it would flop so hard. It would flop so hard.
It would make $11 million, and Rod would be like, "Oh man, that movie tanked."
They would buy a house. They would buy a castle. They would it would end up like Fog City.
Fog City, Fog City, bitch.
Yeah.
Fog City is terrible. It would not end up like Fog City.
Fog City was a movie, Brian, that was literally these people were like, "Oh great, we're gonna shoot a movie." They're like, "We have this house in the middle of Massachusetts. We have like $100,000 to do this," and they spent $98,000 of it renting like a Lamborghini and like a Hummer and shit like that, and then like the only other good thing about
fog machines
were titties, and that was like the only thing that was pretty fucking terrible. And then we made a song about it called Fog City, Fog City, bitch, Fog City, Fog City, bitch, and
I'm gonna watch this movie tonight.
No, don't do that to yourself, Brian. We love you. No. But yeah, so I don't know, man. It that's why horror is a cool thing, because you don't have to spend a lot. And dude, in a world where these fucking Hollywood overproduced bullshit movies that you're spending $200 million on shit that like just to spend $200 million, it's just like, stop it. You don't need to spend hundreds. Like, dude, the Joker 2, you spent $200 million making the Joker 2. And what my point in all of this is, because the video game industry is doing the same thing. They're going through the exact thing. They're like, "Oh, we spend $400 million on a game, and then we're going to go, but what? But you mean chucking money at things doesn't make it better? It doesn't make it like." It is a world of quality matters, both movies and games and all that stuff. And this is a thing where it's just like you have this little movie that doesn't cost anything to make. I mean, $10 million, say, and you just have some really good dialogue. You have a good script, nothing like crazy. You just have some like great acting, a really good script, and you have a cool little thing, and it makes money, and it will keep making money, because everything at this point now is, we've been at the point where we have Terrifier 3 make a shit ton of money this year. Another movie that cost $1 million or something like that they ended up having for this.
How much
it was like it was like $1 million, $2 million, whatever, and you just go, this is what matters, is making quality, not how much you spend on it. And that matters, man. And it's just like, we've had bigger horror movies this year. I mean, Alien Romulus, they spent like what, 60 million or whatever it was.
Something
I mean, like we talked about last week. That's it, like a lot of money. and they that movie looked as good as like big fucking Marvel movies for the most part. I mean, smaller, containment and all that stuff, and like less cast and all that shit. But like, just blowing money, spending $80 million on Robert Downey Jr. That shit doesn't. It's not necessary, man. And like, I don't know. It's that tipping point of capitalism, and things like this make me happy because one, this movie's poking at religion on a point that is relevant. It's not just shitting on religion. It's like legitimate. I mean, can you agree that like it's the outside of the whole him murdering people and keeping them in dog cages, this movie's points are pretty like on point with like people that you would have like meet and have conversations with who are very, very like atheist, right? It's like nothing he says is, I mean, okay, I do want to ask you. You talked about some theology points that were off, and I don't know if I know offhand or anything that was. But do you have any ideas, like offhand, that like stuff that wasn't accurate again?
There were a couple like just small things. Like I said, there was some discussion about Dante. There were a couple. Hold on, let me find it because there were some that I saw, and then I was like, oh, maybe I'm wrong. But then I saw them on the trivia stuff.
Okay.
Disbeliever. Shit, where did I see it?
Brian, I don't know. Like,
oh, okay, no, where it was. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, Brian, what is your background in religion besides like being in the South most year? Like, were you ever like drugged to church?
I used to go to church every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday, man. Not because of that's how I was raised or anything. It was actually something that I kind of gravitated towards myself because I was kind of the outsider when I was growing up. And the folks accepted me, so I
community like we were talking community like we were talking about
exactly. And that's but I started to see the bullshit when I joined the military. When I got out into the world and you start to see the way people can use religion and faith to prey upon the easily influenced,
the vulnerable.
To really separate myself from being a faith-based person, I guess. But yeah, like I used to go to church like I said, every Saturday, Sunday, youth group every Wednesday. My first band was a Christian rock band. We were called Never Lukewarm, which comes out of Revelations.
I dig it.
That's pretty good, actually.
I was all about it until I started to see, honestly, and just in my opinion, what it really is. I'm just like I have a very jaded opinion. And jaded thoughts about religion and organized religion, particularly, obviously.
As an adult who tried to grew up in the Catholic Church and like fell off because of the guilt and anxiety and shit that built up on me, I'm like, fuck this noise. But like, other than that, it's like, dude, you try having kids for 15 years or 10 years or something like that, and like being not successful at all, miscarriages, all that shit, and going, yeah, this is a fair and just world, especially when you see shit like horrible people doing, I mean, accomplishing shit and getting away with shit and doing all the shit, and you're just like, yeah, fuck this noise. So yeah. So King, did you find that?
Oh no, I don't even. I honestly, my brain lost track. I know that there's a lot of people talking about that in Zeitgeist. There's a lot of references to that, but that's also a person that's like feels personally attacked by the movie, which is interesting because I did see somebody else talking about that. They felt, as someone from a Christian standpoint, that it did a great job of discussion.
That's an intelligent Christian right there.
Yeah, they were like, it gives a really great chance to like sit and talk. It's a great way to like start a conversation and have some really good commentary, and it's a really great look at it. And there was somebody else who was like, honestly, a religious movie, an anti-religion movie that is super religious and should be seen by everyone. And I was like, oh, like that's really nice to see. So like I said, I just thought it was great.
dude.
This
Just
movie's fucking rad.
Yeah.
This might be my second favorite movie this year.
It's up
Yeah.
there. I think it's probably behind The Substance and Strange Darling for me, but it's like in the top 5. Like, I think you're right though, Ken, because I think a lot of the writing that they have these two characters that are just human, but they fight back and they go, because I think that anyone who has problems with this movie, like you're talking about, like, we're probably the people that think the earth is 6,000 years old and tries to take every single word in the Bible, like word for word, literally, you know?
Then still wear mixed fabric clothing and eat shrimp.
Yeah. Well, dude, that's the thing, man. It's the thing that, like, you had all these. I laughed every single time I saw it. It was like, you know, all the reporters who would go to Trump rallies and they'd be like, oh, yeah, gay marriage in the Bible. Blah. By the way, gay marriage wasn't in the Bible until priests got they used to talk about fucking kids. And then, like, priests were fucking kids too much. And then they're like, we're going to take this part out because it doesn't work with our whole, you know, we're getting caught fucking kids and shit like that. But, like, and so then gay marriage, right? And the shit like that is just like, I know there's gay marriage, there's gay stuff in the Bible, and they talk about it manly with man and shit like that, right? But I think they do a really good job of just showing that, like, that girl has a speech about, like, basically its belief doesn't mean that, like, you can get around logic and you could get around, you know, the stuff. And that's what, like, when she kind of fights back, I don't know. I kind of think that the of the two girls, the other one should have survived, to be completely honest.
Well, I thought that too, but I feel like that would have been even more predictable. And also, like, she was kind of, you know, I think it's a story of growth for the one that survived, because the other was pretty well set on, like, you know, this is how it is.
She was the one who was like, yeah, I'm going to the belief door, because that was one of the better parts of the movie, was like them trying to argue. And it's the thing where you're like thinking that shit out in your own head. You're like, well, he's going to want us to go disbelief, but then if we do go disbelief, is he going to punish us for it? Like, you're going through all this, and they both go to the same spot. Right. But like, I
think it did a lot for the girl that was, like, you know, super the one that did continue through the story, where she was ready to just jump in the non-belief door to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And, like, it's pretty impressive that I liked the idea that he showed, like, how easy it was for her to flip. Yeah. Like, she's not going to take full, you know, she's not going to stand by it. She believes it, but she's going to leave.
But it's that thing too. It's the you were sitting there and going through the human mind of what someone, but it's trying to predict the crazy person like this dude obviously was. It's real hard, man. And I just think this is a cool movie that, like, it could have been just come across as anti-religious, like we were talking about, but I don't think it does. I think that him being a crazy person, on top of him having, like, legitimate ideas about religion, is just like complexity, right? It's like a complex character. And that's why, like, I don't know, like, I think that the whole ending with the women in the cages and shit, I'm just like, that felt more like you're turning it into a horror movie, into what felt more realistic when he's, like, you know, debating these women and doing all this shit. But I don't know, man. So
right.
Okay, well, we have anything else we want to say? Brian's got, like, his house is gonna blow up, and
my dog's getting a little ornery.
Is there anything else, Brian, you guys want to say before we wrap up?
I just love you guys, man.
I love you, Brian. You sexy fuck. And I'm glad that this movie was as good, because I know you've been excited about this for a while.
This
so
movie was fucking badass.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. So, do you guys have anything you wanted to watch? Still,
you wanted to watch Shocker.
I've been trying to watch Shocker for a minute.
Fucking Shocker.
I got you.
Okay,
I got
you. Ken, I have to tell you something. Ken, if you don't show up next week and I have to listen to Brian talk about Shocker all by myself after
I'm not gonna lie, if you don't show up next week, we're doing Shocker, but then we're gonna revisit Prom Night 2.
You already did this to me with Mary Lou 2, Prom Night 2, the Bugaloo Boo Jew, new, foo. I like you already did this to me once, Ken. You have to watch Shocker, okay? You have to watch Shocker, Ken, because if you don't watch Shocker and it's just Brian going, I just wanted Ken to watch this movie because I've already seen Shocker. I know what Shocker's about. It's Freddy Krueger mixed with like what was that movie with John Goodman and Denzel Washington?
I don't know. Let's let Ken watch it and find out.
What was that movie? Fallen Angel? Fallen? Yeah, Fallen. That's what I'm thinking. Like, yeah. Remember that movie? Do you guys remember that? Yeah, okay. We'll watch Shocker next week. Brian complaining about Shocker. And we'll go watch Shocker next week. 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink. Okay, guys. Go to murdermoose.com, get our stuff, our gear. Go to YouTube and subscribe to us there. Just type Murder Moose Podcast and it'll be good. Kin goes to continue.com, get all our stuff. KINTINUE, and go to twitch.tv/continue and do her stuff. And she streams from 8 a.m. Eastern till 3 p.m.
3
Eastern.
p.m. Eastern.
Yes, every day, besides Saturdays and every other Friday.
What are you playing right now?
Yeah. Satisfactory.
The same thing she's been
Still.
playing for months.
This is okay in game length. This is currently my 3rd longest played game on stream, and it's getting ready to surpass my 3rd. So
Yeah.
Nice.
It
with
is.
Fallout 4 being my number 1.
And then Pokemon with guns.
Nope.
Isn't it?
I think that's the one it's about to surpass.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah,
because it's that,
yeah.
then New World,
Pokemon
then
with guns.
Pow World.
I didn't remember you playing that much New World, but yeah.
I played the fuck out of New World because we had a few sponsored events, and then I just kept going.
Yeah.
So
Brian, how is We're Gonna Make You Watch going?
We're gonna make you watch is going fun. The episode that dropped last week was we made Warren watch Blood Rage.
Yeah.
And the one that's getting ready to drop here next week is we made him watch Thanksgiving.
Nice.
And that was a very fun experience. I highly recommend when that drops, you guys definitely check out the Thanksgiving episode where we made Warren watch that.
Yes.
So,
Do
I need to
do all
make
these
Cats
things.
watch that.
And yeah, I see the eyes of the Void Kitty. The Void Kitty.
Yes.
Okay, you can follow me on Twitter, or not Twitter. I don't do Twitter anymore. I got to make the Blue Sky, so I haven't
Yeah,
done
you
it.
got to make our Blue Sky.
I've had a lot of shit. Okay, follow me
it's okay.
wherever
I'm not gonna
on Twitch or whatever, Rod_Johnston. Find me other places. And buy my book, which is on Amazon. So, The Death and Rebirth of the Human Heart. Booyah! And that's about all. So, I will see you guys next week. We'll see you guys next week for Brian's Shocker. 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink.
Yeah.
Bye!
Bye.
Yeah.